If you've been following the news about the Microsoft Activision case, chances are you saw the headline saying that Microsoft has no idea when Call of Duty's release date was. I have a few examples that I brought up for Forbes, and that's text from yesterday's video. An example here from Forbes where it says Microsoft tells the FTC it doesn't know Call of Duty's release date, budget, anything. That's from Paul Tassi, a friend of mine. This one is from Insider Gaming. Microsoft says it doesn't know when Call of Duty launched. Now, these articles are actually referencing something that happened a little while ago, and we're going to read right from the document and see what Microsoft said, referring to what the FTC said. We're going to do it right now. So the long and the short of it is this is all coming from a document, the reply to the FTC. And it's one paragraph in particular. It says, to the extent the complaint is quoting from documents, Microsoft respectfully refers the court to the documents for an accurate and complete statement of their contents. Microsoft avers that it lacks knowledge or information sufficient to form a belief as to the truth of the allegations concerning industry perceptions of Call of Duty and Call of Duty's original release date, or as to the truth of the allegations concerning Call of Duty's launch and typical release schedule and the resources and budget Activision allocates to Call of Duty, including the number of studios that work on Call of Duty. Microsoft denies the remaining allegations contained in paragraph 6. And before we go and see what the FTC said originally, if you scroll down, they say Microsoft denies the allegations. Microsoft only admits what they absolutely have to. And you can say Microsoft denies the allegations contained in paragraph 11. So let's go back to that original paragraph 6, because they're basically saying we're not going to agree to Call of Duty's particular release date because there's no reason, there's not a single good reason why Microsoft should go out of their way to make the court case easier for the FTC. So here's what the FTC had said in their paragraph 6 of their suit or document or whatever you want to call it. Activision and industry participants recognize Call of Duty as Activision's key product franchise. Call of Duty was originally launched in 2003, and Activision releases new titles for the franchise on an annual basis. Activision allocates substantial resources to the franchise. As many as blank primary development studios are devoted to it at any one time, and its budget is significantly larger than other AAA titles. Now, there's a few things about this statement, like just reading it. They give a year. They said it launched in 2003. They didn't give a date. They didn't give a specific date. So Microsoft's not going to agree that that's when it launched. It didn't launch that year. It launched on a specific day at a specific time. And then Brad Sams also pointed out, I watched his video because he had some interesting insight in his. He pointed out that, like me, there's no real reason that Microsoft needs to agree to anything beyond what they absolutely have to agree to, right? So why would they just make the case easier for the FTC? One of the big problems, as Activision pointed out, was that the FTC didn't go and define a lot of the terms in their suit. And now they're going to have to do that because, as you can see in the pretrial hearing, which you can watch right here, basically Microsoft said, look, we still have the EU and the UK to go through, which is the EU team and the CMA. And the CMA is likely going to come up with consent decrees if they're going to have any. And then Microsoft's going to bring that back to the FTC and say, here's what we're willing to give you. We'll agree to the same things we agreed to with the CMA and the EU authorities. What's going to be really interesting, though, is if nothing happened there. Meanwhile, there's this FTC case. And what Microsoft's going to do is they're going to deny. They're going to say, you didn't define this term. You don't clearly define even when Call of Duty originally launched. And anything that they agree to during these proceedings, that's going to be used as a thread that the FTC will use against them. So they want to give the FTC as little as they possibly have to make the court case harder for the FTC to prove. And that's smart, in my opinion. Like, why would you help the company trying to block your deal? Why would you help them at all? So they also disagreed with paragraph 8. So the FTC said stuff like, Activision's content is extremely important for and drives adoption of video game consoles. Given their immense popularity, Activision titles are of particular importance to console makers, including Microsoft's competition. Great, prove it. Microsoft's response to that was, Microsoft denies the allegations contained in paragraph 8. Why would they agree to the idea that they're evil, basically? Because that's the argument that they're making. They're saying, not that they're evil. Okay, that's a weird way to put it. But they're saying that Call of Duty is the reason people buy video game consoles. And Microsoft countered in their statement before this. They're like, that's not actually true. Call of Duty isn't like one of the main games that people get. They get other properties. And I can't remember when that was from, but that was a while back. And Activision's titles are of particular importance to console makers, including Microsoft's competition. There's no reason, like there's nothing that even resembles any sort of proof in that statement. But what got people really riled up was some statements from Matt Stoller, who said that Microsoft was being petty in some of these statements. These were back from December 23rd, but they were populating today. Before we get to that, though, if you've watched this far, thank you so much. And if you're already subscribed, I apologize for the promo, but I have this goal of 100,000 subscribers. I know half of you are not subscribed. So if you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. It's free, by the way. It'll help the channel grow. I will be one step closer to hitting 100,000 subscribers, and you can be one of the first 100,000 subscribers to help me hit that goal. I get a cool silver play button. I'm really stoked about it, and thank you for watching so far. Let's get into what Matt said, though. I reached out to Matt to see if he wanted to do like a Discord conversation or something so that I could talk to him a little bit more about his take on it, because he's very pessimistic and negative about it. He says, Microsoft does not concede the truthfulness of third-party articles and news sources quoted or referenced by antitrust enforcers. So everyone is lying but Microsoft. Okay, guys. I find that very strange, a very strange reaction from Matt. Okay, yes, the subscribe button needs to chill. Matt basically reacted very negatively to that, but like there's no reason. Microsoft's not saying anybody's lying. They're saying that the FTC has to prove the statements. The FTC references behind closed doors interviews they had with Bobby Kotick, and they're like, Bobby Kotick said this, and they're like, okay, go watch the tape. Like, we're not going to confirm what we didn't hear in an interview between the FTC and Bobby Kotick behind closed doors. Why would we admit to that? That has nothing to do with us, right? And that's sort of what they're doing here. This is a very nasty and petty response by Microsoft to the FTC. They are denying things like Activision makes iconic titles in video gaming, or that AAA is a term used in the video game industry. But if you'll remember in my video, they did admit what a GPU is. So really, the FTC won at the end of the day. Again, the burden of proof is on the FTC. They have to define these things. What I don't understand, and I would ask Matt, I would say, Matt, why would you expect Microsoft to make this easier for the FTC? Yeah, they're going to make them define all these things and make it as hard as they possibly can to win this case, right? He continues on, FTC claimed Call of Duty is a popular, profitable, and successful video game franchise. Microsoft's response is that it has no knowledge of Call of Duty revenues and demands all sourcing. Extremely nasty and petty. So Matt seems to be very reactionary. And Matt went to Harvard. He studies business. He's in some prominent things, important people things that I didn't really know about, but I looked into Matt a little bit. I believe he writes for The Guardian over in the UK. So like he studies this stuff, right? That's what he does. He wrote a book. He's a very, very fancy person, and I'm just some guy. So I don't really understand where this negativity is coming from. Like, I'm just surprised by it. And that's why I wanted to talk to him, because I want to be like, Matt, why did it rile you up so much that Microsoft wouldn't just hand the case to the FTC? Like, aren't they being smart? Like, wouldn't you think they're being smart? And I'd love to hear his response and have a conversation with him. So Matt, if you end up watching this video, respond to the DM. Let's talk, because I'm really curious to hear your perspective. Oh, and Microsoft is also claiming that the Federal Trade Commission itself is unconstitutional because F it, why not? I mean, I don't think they said the FTC is unconstitutional. And even if you read the clip where he put it here, these proceedings are invalid because the structure of the commission as an independent agency that wields significant executive power and the associated constraints on removal of the commissioners and other commission officials violates Act 2 of the U.S. Constitution and the separation of powers. My read was that the suit was not constitutional. And I think some people who do more legal stuff than I do actually commented on this, sort of surprised. Like, this is, oh yeah. So like, here's Russell, who just sort of commented. He said, this is the most standard sounding legal sentence imaginable. That's just how lawyers write and how they posture in litigation. Russell is an attorney. So yeah, he's like, this is very standard stuff. That's just how they write. They come off defensively, and why would you hand the opposition, the person suing you, trying to stop your $70 billion deal? And that, yeah. So they dropped $70 billion. The FTC is suing to stop the deal. Microsoft's going to pay $500 million in penalties potentially if it goes past like certain target dates. They're just going to hand the FTC the case? No way. I really like how Microsoft lawyers handled it. I think they're being very smart. I don't think it's petty. I think it's just attorneys being good at their job at the end of the day, right? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when this goes to trial, and I hope to cover it more for you. The next few days might be kind of slow, so I might just be covering Xbox news or whatever's just happening in the industry over the next few days. But while I have you, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, help me hit 100,000 subs. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thanks so much to the members for supporting. I really appreciate you. Memberships do cost something. What I do is I turn off all the ads on my videos and post them ad-free for members. Thank you, everybody who has decided to support, and that's unlocked at any level. Now, if you want to see the video yesterday where I recap what happened at the pre-trial, that was pretty interesting. Not a lot happened, but it was interesting what was said and how people reacted. You can watch that here. Subscribe over here. I'm going to get out of here, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.